December 21st, 1842. The air is thick with the smoke and smog of a newly industrialized London. Nobles, the poor and the wealthy, the merchants and mariners, all coming together in this, the jewel of England, the largest and some would say greatest city in the world. Or at least it was. And perhaps one day it will be so again. Chaz, you are in Mayfair, stalking Grosvenor Square, looking for a mark, some wealthy, imperceptive passerby that you might be able to follow home to their manses and estates and sate your hunger for the night. You're dressed up, you have an approximation of perhaps a porter or a courier, some other person of lower status who would nevertheless not be out of place in this district of the city. And you're sort of moving through the throngs. It's earlier in the evening, the sun has just gone down, and the warm and welcoming cloak of darkness settling on your shoulders is flickering, disoriented by the lamps as they go up for the night. You're moving through this crowd of people when you feel someone bump your shoulder, and although in the throng it's not that unusual, you are perceptive enough to know someone, some very unlucky someone, has just pickpocketed you. What do you do?
Chaz is both hungry and really doesn't like getting ripped off. So she is angry. So she turns with a snarl in the crowd and is immediately trying to see if she can pinpoint who just bumped into her and thought they could lighten her pockets.
You turn around. You do see a hooded figure kind of with a cloak on, raising the cowl, shoulders hunched, slipping away. But as the crowd shifts and moves and closes in front of your vision, they vanish from sight, and you can't help but think in your gut, this is no ordinary thief. This must be a fellow kindred.
Chaz is going to start moving through the crowd and see if she can sniff out.
Yeah.
She's moving very, very quickly. She's knocking people over out of her way.
Yeah.
And she is trying to find this person.
People shouting in indignation as you bowl them aside. You don't care. Someone has wronged you, and this will not stand. You pursue the thief, looking for the places in the crowd that part ahead of you as someone else moves through this sea of people, and eventually twisting through passages and alleyways, dodging underfoot from passing horse carriages. You slip into a dark sort of cobblestone alley between two buildings. There's the smell of rancid sewage, people's waste buckets that they've dumped out of their windows, lights flickering in the windows up above. And you see closer towards the ground at the base, the stone foundation of one of these buildings, is a sewer grate, a half-circle archway with iron bars blocking passage. And several of these bars have been bent open to allow for a human-sized figure to get inside.
Well, lucky for Chaz, she is also a human-sized figure, so she is going to go straight for that grate. And before she drops inside, she is going to see if she can rip one of those bars off.
Yeah.
Because she currently doesn't have a weapon, and she's going to need one when she finds them.
You summon the blood, rouse your vampiric strength, easily pop a metal bar out of the stonework with a wrenching noise, and slip beneath into London's sewers. The smell is disgusting. There are rats skittering under feet, the splashing of water as you move on the cobbles, and you have no line of sight to the figure, but you're listening for those echoing footsteps coming back at you through the tunnels and pursuing the trail of rats that seem to be following in a specific direction as well. You're 90% sure at this point there's a Nosferatu, and if you can't find this one, you know where to find the rest and you know how to make them talk. But as you get lost in the maze of tunnels and passages down here, You start to get this weird feeling. You can't quite place it. And as you get deeper and deeper, farther and farther from the light, you realize you're sensing a draft, a chill, something frosty hanging in the air. You can't help but wonder how you're even feeling it down here. It's not possible. There's no nearby passage to the surface, no air coming through these tunnels.
So once Chaz feels that, she can get very angry sometimes. And there is a part of her that is very dead set right now on finding this Nosferatu and making them even uglier with this pipe that she has. But the one thing that can beat out anger in her is curiosity. So all of this, especially just a draft down in the sewers, she is definitely gonna follow that, see what the cause is.
The beast is raging at you to pursue the thief, take back what is yours, but something even stronger than the beast pulls you to the side. You keep going down these tunnels following this chill as it gets stronger and stronger. The layout of the sewers makes less and less sense. You double back on passages you've gone down before, but take you to new tunnels, new doorways, new thresholds. And eventually, you come out into this tall, arched cistern with oil lamps hanging on the walls that illuminate a sort of sickly reflection in the thin layer of grimy water coating the floor. Forward ahead of you, 50 or so feet, the arched ceiling curves down and opens into 4 identical passages, and you can sense the chill, quite strong here, coming from the rightmost passage. This is something else. This is something new.
Chaz is going to start creeping towards the rightmost tunnel very slowly, and she's going to see if she can sniff anything out in that direction.
You start sniffing, you're smelling the crisp air, the fresh breeze after a snowfall, the distant scent of pine. But before you can get to the tunnel itself, you hear footsteps coming from your left, and out of the leftmost passage emerges a dark and shadowy figure. Not just shadowy, but made of shadows. It appears to be a humanoid man, but his suit and his attire are formed as if woven from shadows themselves. It is almost like you're not looking at anything at all, but you can tell there is shape to the darkness. His skin is this ashen gray, and he has no visible eyes, for as he lifts his head to greet you, a dark mask weaves itself from the shadows around him and places itself on his nose. And the figure kind of peers around at you and says,
It's quite difficult to darken my doorstep, you know. Who comes so calmly to the court of shadows?
Oi, wasn't trying to darken anybody's doorstep. I'm Chaz, just dropped my purse and gonna find it, and then I'll be right out of your way.
That's quite all right, Chaz. I can sense you're like me. You have a command of the darkness, a fondness for the shadowed places in the world. You are welcome in my court.
Thank you for noticing. Not many people do, but really I was just seeing my way out.
You're new to this city's underworld, aren't you? I don't recognize you.
First time, actually.
You are free of the friends of the night. You would do well to remain so. They will betray their own when the dawn comes. Best to depend on oneself, don't you think?
You know, I don't have many friends, actually, to begin with, and it's exactly for that reason. So, cheers to that, mate.
And we are kindred you and I, and not in the sense you are thinking of. People like us, we call ourselves the masters of the night. But there are much stranger things looming out there in the darkness.
What kind of things?
That is the question, isn't it? I don't suppose you will find many of them here. The city is doomed to fall. Maybe in 10 years. Maybe 100. Maybe more. But London will burn. There are too many lights shining here. I will let you take your leave. But if I may offer one piece of advice.
Yeah? Yeah?
Leave these shores, Chaz. Find the dark places in the world. They are waiting for someone like you. And I think you are waiting for them. They will call to you. You will find them.
I'm looking forward to it.
With that, the King of Shadows nods his head and slips away into the third passageway.
Good luck in the dark places, Chaz. Perhaps one day we'll meet again.
We flash forward. See Chaz stowing away on a coffin ship, clutching the staked and withered corpse of a fellow kindred. We see Chaz in New York City, on the Oregon Trail, in the arms of a toreador, before finally arriving in Seattle at its founding. When the city burns, it is rebuilt atop itself. Who else but Chaz Dollian is the first to descend into the darkness?
Oh me, oh my.
Who else but Chaz?
Who
Let's
else?
Nobody was keeping an eye on the Malkavian?
Melody, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't protect you.
Mathias, come.
Good evening, travelers, and welcome back to the Court of the Jester Princes. I am your storyteller, Jonas Tintenseher, and we are playing Vampire the Masquerade V5 Midnight Gravity. Joining me tonight, our thaumaturgical thinblood, Casey Reardon.
I play Mathias Wilson, and are you thirsting for a Thurston fact?
Oh, give it to me.
Please.
At the age of 7, he had seen his first magic show with the nationally famous Alexander Herman, the, quote, king of magic.
That's a nice fact. My brain, for some reason, really expected at the age of 7, he saw his first murder.
His brother was murdered.
This is
so
true.
Like,
This is
we went over that.
Yeah, no, maybe that's why it was in my head.
That saw trick just went wrong, you know?
Our misguided Malkavian, Sky Swanson.
The deepest diving whale or dolphin species is the Cuvier's beaked whale. This remarkable species dives over 9,800 feet, that is nearly 2 miles. These dives can last over 200 minutes, and they do this to hunt deep-sea squid.
Ooh,
Oh.
hell yeah. Squid
Wow.
hunters.
Reggie.
It's a lot of miles.
Oh, just forget the name.
It's secondary to the fish fact.
I forget the name. I know you know it, but I'm always like, I hear the fact ends and I'm just like, all right, moving on.
All right, we're done.
Forget that there is a name to say. Our heart-rending Hecata, Andrew Frost.
My name is Antonio Stregano, and I don't feel like talking right now.
No.
Well, fuck off, I do.
Our treble clef Toreador, Rachel Kordell.
Ooh, nice one.
Thank you.
I'm Mars, and tonight's song is You Make My Dreams Come True by Wendlow.
You gotta take that one off the playlist. Vampires don't dream.
Yeah.
That's true.
I didn't
That's
say
true.
that I was dreaming. I said that you make them come true.
All right, well,
Well, you can't have nothing come true.
splitting.
One time I did.
Oh, shit. And our liberated Lasombra special guest, Meghan Martin.
Chaz, coming at you live from Seattle's Space Needle, which is not the most photographed spot in Seattle. That would actually be the rotating pink elephant car wash sign on Battery Street at Denny Way.
It's not the gum wall?
I was just going to say.
You know what? People aren't taking as many pictures of gum, apparently.
All right, we got to change that. Everybody listening, let's go to Seattle. Let's take a bunch of pictures of the gum wall. Let's change some facts here.
I was going to say, can people take more pictures of the damn Space Needle? Because to find a good picture is impossible online.
It was hard during the promo, yeah.
During the promo, it was so bad.
Last time on Midnight Gravity, our coterie recovered from the aftermath of Ajax's attack on the Marchmont auction. Look, you're all still unalive, okay? What do you want from me?
We all made a face about that.
Reggie's feeling great.
Yeah, it's going to be a good night, right, Reggie?
Yep, gonna be a good night.
It's got to be a good night.
Maria Palma aggressed on Matthias while Antonio handled the remaining crony before eventually feeding him to Reggie, who had been utterly mutilated by Ajax's attack. Mars was quick to run to Reggie's side while Chaz made some plans to try and get away with more than what the group came for, though she eventually decided to let it pass. At the advice of one Luvinia, the coterie has left the auction, escaping notice of the cops for now, and returned to Primogen Olga Artemyevna's office to report on the success of their mission. That is where we will find ourselves. You guys return to the small brick building. The receptionist, the Lanceretic-looking man, waves you in and sends you up. You enter the office of quote-unquote Sally Thompson. You see Olga is inside. She's kind of standing up, looking out the window with her hands crossed behind her back, as many kindred love to do. Middle-aged woman, plump figure, big curly hair tied back in a bun, and Bride of Frankenstein white streaks running through the sides of it at her temples. Antonio, do you have Oblivion sight up?
Yeah.
So you see that, as to be expected from the Lasombra Primogen, and Chas, you probably know this just by nature, if not necessarily by actually seeing it, the shadows in the room are somewhat darker than you would expect from the light sources available. And Antonio, you, upon walking in, you see that the shadows in the far corner, sort of directly forward and right from you, are much deeper than the rest, and that is because there is someone else hiding in them, just sort of perched up, leaning against the wall, watching you all. Pale figure in a black leather jacket, who you would recognize as Olga's right hand. But to the rest of you, it is simply a dark corner. You enter?
Yes.
Olga does not speak first, so who does?
Chaz, for sure.
What does Chaz say?
Olga, you're not going to believe it. You have one smoky treasure coming your way. Everything went off without a hitch. Perfect mission.
Reggie stands in the back. Half their jaw is still hanging off of their face.
Mars is still standing there next to them, eyes a little bit wide and glassy, but mostly mentally recovered.
We look equally as good.
Olga, you hear her kind of just, well, I suppose I will be content with my prize. She turns around and looks at all of you, and no reaction to the blood and injuries, some of it washed off, bits of ash still sprinkled on your clothes from Antonio's machinations. And she just kind of looks you all over and says, I take it there were complications, however.
The Volantis kid.
You say Volantis, and her face instantly darkens. And she says, what do you mean the Volantis kid? He was there?
Yeah. Came in, made a fuss. It's dealt with.
He's dead.
No. But he didn't get what he came for.
Oh, that is good news. And what did he come for?
I'm never going to get this book.
A book of alchemical formulae.
Alchemical. She looks to you, Matthias. She says, What would he want with this?
Honestly, I don't know if there's anything that he personally could do with it other than try and sell it on the black market. I know there's plenty of people who would want it.
She looks to the corner and says to the figure standing there, Ghost, what do you know of this? What does Volantis want with the sugar? And the shadows coalesce, and emerging from it is another Lasombra, this one appearing to be a young woman with just stark paper white skin and hair, wearing this black leather jacket and deep purplish bags under her eyes.
Beautiful.
She kind of steps forward, her arms crossed, and she says, Volantis. Yeah. He's been poking around. Something's moving at some of the clubs around town. There's a coffee shop I think Chaz mentioned. Fledgling. Hey. Can you talk? I think you can form words. It's sort of a post-dentist cotton mouth you have right now.
Yeah. Reggie just kind of muffles out yeah.
You got that notebook on you?
They just nod.
Ghost holds out a hand.
Reggie hands Ghost the book.
Ghost flips through, says, You seen anything about Ajax recently?
Reggie shakes their head no.
You really good clarification. So, I can't tell you anything more about what he's doing, but I know he's been moving product, so that could be what he's after. Is some way to lock it down? Olga nods and says, Thank you. She takes the book, kind of flips through it herself, and then says, Well, I suppose the cat is out of the grave, as they say. She tosses the book back to Reggie, a gentle throw.
Barely catches it, just stumbles with it.
Yep.
He clutches it to her chest.
And Olga says, she's about to say something, but then she kind of looks over all you and she sees you're all just kind of fucked. And she says, Chastity, you will update me on the details later.
Absolutely, I'll make sure to give you a full report.
You have secured the artifact?
Should be delivered to you if they're playing by the rules.
Very well. Then you have accomplished the task I have given you. You will be rewarded. Are there any requests you would like to make, or may I make my own assumptions?
I would be happy to discuss.
Well, you and I have all the time in the world.
I'd like to hold on to mine if I can.
I do not care much to owe a favor to a thin blood, Mr. Wilson. Can you make a case for why I should allow you to hold this over me?
I'm not trying to hold anything over anyone. I just need some time to rest.
This I can give you.
Thank you.
I'm actually trying to think of a reasonable thing to ask from Olga pertaining to my situation.
Ooh.
Yeah. The only thing I think I could think of is information about something, but...
You could ask perhaps for a promised vote if there were ever a situation where someone's fate were to be on the line.
Yeah, no, that's pretty useful.
Or you could also ask to just hold the favor as Mathias did. She said she didn't want to owe one to a thin blood, but to a proper kindred she might not object.
Yeah, I think Mars would ask to hold the favor as well.
She accepts. Antonio, Reggie?
Unlimited phone plan. From a
Lasombra? Can't do it.
Yeah, I think Reggie just kind of awkwardly shoves forward and, I think Reggie is just can you help me see my mom?
Your mother?
Yeah, she's in an institute, and I can't go there, because,
You see Olga, she's very far from empathic or motherly about this. She doesn't react ooh, that's so sweet, of course. But you do see her kind of flicker with what Reggie may not understand, but what the rest of you would understand as recognition of a fledgling kindred's humanity. And you know that she, who has been around for at least decades longer, possibly more, does not have any of those connections herself and has not had them for a long time, as have many of you. So it's not that she's oh, that's sweet, I wish I had that. It's more oh, that's sweet, they still have that.
Yeah.
And she kind of narrows her eyes and says, "This is a simple task. Yes, strings can be pulled. Give me a time and date and we will arrange for a nightly visit."
Reggie just kind of nods. And I think they, I don't know how to say it in Russian, but I think they say thank you in Russian.
Sure. Her smile rises a little bit and she returns, "You're welcome." And looks at Antonio.
I think Antonio's eyes turn to Ghost for a moment.
I know you have eyes and ears everywhere. What do you know of the Midnight Door?
Ooh. All of the shadows in the room, already quite dark, grow darker still. And Ghost looks at Olga for permission, and Olga, accepting this as your favor, nods. And Ghost says, "You don't know much? Can't find it. I know Chaz pokes around there sometimes, but as far as I know, she hasn't found nothing either. Whatever it is, it's a lot older than the city is. Just didn't have anywhere to be until the city came around. I don't think it leads to the abyss, but it goes somewhere in the Umbra. Can't tell what's behind it. Everyone's buzzing about it, though. I know Granch is redoubling his efforts, and pretty sure the Tremere are up to something, trying to suss it out before anyone else. Yeah, I think that's about as much as she can say."
Okay.
If you have a question, you can ask, of course.
I think that actually answered more than Ghost even knows it did.
Okay.
Thank you for telling me. That's all I need for now.
Olga smiles a genuine smile at that, although it is sort of the genuine smile of a large cat satisfied with their meal. And she says, "I am always pleased to resolve these matters in minutes and not decades. So thank you for your courtesy, Mr. Stregano." "Very well. Chastity, we will speak another time. The rest of you are dismissed. I suggest you lay low for a few nights while this is resolved. If this matter with Volantis escalates, would any of you be interested in assisting me with it?"
Whatever he's doing with things of the nature of that book can't look good for me and mine, so yes.
A wise decision, Mr. Wilson.
What does that mean?
She looks around, she kind of looks to Reggie again, and looks to Ghost and says, "Mr. Volantis has been associating with unsavory types in the Seattle area, and with the death of the prince, there is no one to keep him in check. Vivian has been blocking us as best she can. She hopes to resolve Malkavian affairs herself. I am concerned primarily with the safety of the masquerade, especially in this time. And if he is so bold as to go charging into public spaces with guns blazing, well, he should be put down.
I agree.
And if he is involved with this production of sugar as well, I can't imagine what else might be hiding in store."
Sugar?
There is a new drug on the streets. It is small, comes in a capsule, blue, inspires hallucinations in mortals, and drives the beast to frenzy. In Kindred, this is dangerous. You can imagine why. They call it sugar. I do not know why. It is not very sweet.
I'm too tired to explain showmanship to her.
Chastity has done some more investigation into the matter. I'm sure she would love to tell you all about it. But for now, I tire of this conversation. Go. And she just looks off into the distance, waiting for you all to leave.
All right. I think Antonio gives a little nod to her and Ghost and starts making his way out.
Mathias will head out.
Chastity gives a little salute and is pretty quick to head out.
With that, you guys leave the office. The receptionist nods at you all as you go. And another favor down for another primogen. You guys are moving, sideways, not up, but sideways in the world. You are free for the night. Where do we go? Do we split up? Do we gather? Do we rest? It is probably about midnight at this point. That all of that took like 2 hours.
Jeez.
I need to rest to regain willpower, but
Yeah. I was gonna say I think we should regroup at some point soon, but I think the rest of this night is I gotta go home.
Yeah, I think we've done about all we can do. Mathias, you need a ride?
yeah.
All right. Reggie.
I think Reggie is just kind of staring into the middle distance right now. When you say their name, kind of look up. They're still clutching that book. Yeah, I think they just kind of shake their head and go, "No, man, I'm good. I'm gonna just do my own thing."
If you want, I can give you a ride somewhere.
I don't need a ride anywhere with any of you guys.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to say sorry about before.
I think Reggie just... I mean, Reggie's face is still healing.
Mm-hmm.
There are these enormous scars running along all over their face. Their nose, I think, is still caved into their head. So they look absolutely like a ghoul right now, and are starving as well. The beast is just constantly lurking underneath that surface. So they just turn to all of you and are just like, I joined you all because I thought I'd be safe from that monster. And I thought we wouldn't get involved in that shit. And look what fucking happened. So I think I'm done for a little bit with all of you. Maybe I'll come back. I don't know.
Reggie, was it was Volantis that did that to you?
Reggie just kind of shudders and is just like, that fucking Bill. And yeah, that prick, he put this poison in me. Same poison that all of you monsters have. Same poison that all of us monsters have. I don't want to fucking live like this. And I don't want to pretend that being around other people who live like this makes it somehow better. Because it fucking doesn't. And we kill people. We're just... None of this is right. And we're all just being like, all right, time to head home. This is psychotic. And Reggie's just wide-eyed, looking at all of you with this horrific-looking face right now. Their body is just disfigured. And he's just seeing if anyone responds to that before she will just head off.
Yeah, I mean, Mars specifically is absolutely... Her face is just soured, but just so frustrated. And she looks like she wants to say something, but she's not going to say that. But she says, yeah, we're monsters. We are, and we do terrible things to each other, but all we can do is fucking try and do better. So, yeah, I want to go home and I want to sit and relax, but I'm not done, and I'm not done with whatever the fuck happened to you tonight. So, I mean, fuck, you don't ever have to see me again, but that's not fucking over.
I think with that, Reggie just leaves.
She wanders off.
Anyone else? We're good? We'll meet up.
Yeah.
Tomorrow or something.
Fine.
And where will we all meet up? I'd like to touch base, actually.
Yeah. And I'll give you the address to our coterie haven in Magnolia.
Thank you, Mars. I knew I could count on you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, of course. Okay. And she'll just turn quickly, about face, and head to her vehicle.
Okay.
Mathias is going to go with Antonio in his car.
Chaz, specifically, before Mathias leaves, says, "You'll be there, right?"
Yeah. Sure.
Great.
All right. You guys all return to your various havens. Mars to her apartment, Chaz to hers. Reggie finds somewhere for the night, and Mathias and Antonio drive away together.
I think it's probably quiet for a while. Antonio's never really been one to start a conversation.
No, he's not.
I think after a long bit of silence, Mathias says, "You know, for a minute I thought you were different."
Ooh.
In what way?
I'm not your fucking dog.
No one said you were.
Really? You seem to command me like one. Just like everybody else. For the longest time, I thought we fucking bonded over past experience, but no. Just like everybody else, I'm second class. You didn't even stand up for me. Nobody ever does. You know, I'm fucking sick of it. I'm tired of pretending that we're all friends, so let's just finally admit that friendship dies in the embrace just like everything else.
No. I won't. You're the closest thing to what we were.
You and I both know that's not true. Reggie's probably the closest thing to what we were, and look at what's happening to them.
I know. And I wish I could take that back.
Honestly, maybe we give her the out. Maybe she would be better off if we just took her out. She wouldn't have to see the rest of this. We've been around here a long time, Antonio, and God, it is so fucking lonely. At least you have a fucking clan. One that will even talk to you. You know, I tried going to the other Thin Bloods, get any information about the Blue Blood, and I was fucking stonewalled. Because of this. And he points to the brand on the back of his neck, which looks like a half moon that he was given upon being found by Vivi. I'm not one of you. I'm not one of them. What the fuck am I?
You're one of us.
Yeah.
This whole...
Sorry.
No, listen. This whole system. Camarilla, Sabad, Hekata, Thin Blood. It's nothing. It's men in power trying to keep power because that's the only thing that makes them feel safe. We live a lonely life. We find those who suffer that loneliness, and we remain lonely together. And it sucks. It really sucks. But that's all we can do. And it's no way to live. But at least for me, it beats what's on the other side.
You know, that's pretty impressive. I know you're not one for flowery words and conversation. But to be honest, Antonio, actions speak louder than words. And I'll believe it when I see it. You can let me out here.
Okay, I think Antonio pulls the car over to the side of the road. And before he, hits the brake all the way, he will take off his sunglasses, and eyes that always appeared black and unglinting behind them aren't quite normal. The whites in his eyes, this disgusting gray. But he looks at you, and...
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have acted like that.
Yeah. You know, time passes and decisions get made that we end up regretting, and the more time passes, the more those decisions keep getting made. I think I'm tired of seeing history repeat itself.
Me too. Get some sleep, we'll talk tomorrow. If you'd like.
He just nods.
Chaz or Mars? The end to the evening?
Well, she goes back to her apartment
Mhm.
and she meets with her coterie, the Furies.
Yeah, it's Monday night, a little past midnight, so they're probably out and about, but either you wait for them to show or you text them and they'll return to your apartment at the Apollonian downtown.
Yeah. Something like bad night. It's the best of my ability to type out to them.
Mm-hmm. To get there, you're driving back the way you came. So as you're pulling in to your parking garage, you're seeing, blocks away, there are police and ambulances and some kind of big commotion happening around the base of the Marchmont building. And those images that you were suffering from earlier keep flashing through your head. You're not even sure what city you're in anymore. You know these shapes, you know these spires, you follow the turns, you get back to your haven.
Yeah, so I get in the elevator of my apartment and I ride up to the 54th floor.
And Anna's apartment.
And I go to the door and my key does not work. And I'm like, shit, we're in Irene's apartment, right? And I turn around and wander back to the elevator and ride back down to 42, I think. And I come out of the elevator there.
As you go stumbling down the hallway in somewhat of a daze, you suddenly feel a shadow moving beside you and a large, firm hand on your shoulder. And your bodyguard, Luther, says, Miss Glamorgan, are you all right?
Yes. The apartment.
Yes. And he leads you back to your room, opens the door, helps you get inside.
Sure. And I'm only comforted, really, by the faces of Mercury and Venus, Irene and Diane.
Mercury and Venus both spring up. Each of them takes a hand of yours and leads you over to the kitchen counter, sit you down at the island. Luther kind of nods his head and steps back outside. Irene gives him a quick debrief, and then door shuts behind him.
Yeah, no, I don't look good. I look like a ghost. I look like I've seen ghosts. And I'm really struggling to communicate with them what's going on in my head.
Mercury is like kind of patting you over like a shock victim and is everything okay? Hey, what's going on? What happened? Was Elliot there? What's going on? And
no.
As she's like checking you over for any injuries or anything, Venus sort of squeezes your hand and pulls your head into hers and rests her forehead on your temple and starts humming a song. A warm little lullaby to comfort you that starts shifting and melding with the song in your head as well.
Yeah, and as I hear that and the songs in both of our heads kind of come together, it kind of brings her down from this utter confusion. And she finally feels like she has some words. Maybe not all of them, but definitely more than a minute ago. And as she pulls back from Venus, she's like, yeah, we were doing this thing for the La Sombra Prim, Olga. Something about an auction. We had to get something for her. But, remember Granite?
They both kind of share a glance and look back at you with one part fear, one part anger in their expressions. Mercury nods and it's like, yeah, I remember.
Well, Ajax showed up to the auction, pulled out a gun. Honestly, I don't remember much of what happened. I just tried to hide my face and I kind of went back to that night and it was like I could feel his eyes on me. And I don't know. I went back.
Like you weren't there anymore.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I don't know why this is happening.
I can think of one reason.
I mean, it's not even where it ended though, because I don't know. From what I understand, all hell broke loose in the auction room, and he ended up leaving, but not before stomping in Reggie's face.
You see Venus kind of wince and knit her brow at that, And she looks down, looks back up, squeezes your hand, and Mercury glances out one of the tall windows at the flashing lights and police sirens down the street, the Marchmont building.
Yeah. That's what all the lights are. That was us.
Jesus.
But it kept happening. I mean, when I saw Reggie, it was like I went back to somewhere else. I went back to remember that night after the one show, and Venus, you were telling me to listen in to Elliot around Melody, and I heard it. I just got so mad, and I clawed his face off. Fuck.
You saw that with Reggie, or?
I don't know. It was like spider legs coming out of the floor. It was just like I saw with her, and I don't know. It was like she was there in my arms as if he'd gotten her, and it was like he'd killed her, and it wasn't even Reggie anymore. It was just her. And it wasn't even just Melody either. I swear at one point, Reggie's face looked like Elliot, and all of a sudden I was back at the tour bus when the wolves attacked us, and he almost died after Chicago.
See Mercury tense up, and she's stroking your hand.
It was just, all of these memories colliding at once, and I don't know. I'm scared.
Me too.
I was just so confused. And it I don't know when I came back or at what point, but when I did, or at some point after I did, we went back to debrief with Olga, and she mentioned that she wanted to kill Ajax. And look, as much as I know that we shouldn't get involved, I want to. I really want to.
See them both, they come in closer again and hold the three of you together as close as they can. And Mercury takes a moment and says, if there's a way to get back at any of them at all, if you have someone on your side who can help you do that, you gotta take it.
Okay.
I don't know, Venus and I will be there to help however we can.
Yeah.
And Venus nods.
Yeah, no, I know.
There's almost a shift in lighting in the room as the earworm in your head is still sort of roiling and being tamped down by Venus's lullaby. And you hear it kind of mix and turn into the echo of a different song. And she says, well, this is it, right? This is what Runa said. It has to get worse before it gets better, right?
No, this is far from the worst. This is just the beginning.
Chastity, anything tonight?
So Chaz does go home at first, and probably isn't there more than a few minutes, just kind of pacing around, watching her phone, waiting to get the address, because she realizes how much she can't wait to meet up with this group again.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is out of curiosity, but, Chaz is somebody who's been around for a very, very long time, and she has lived a lot of her own lifetimes and her own stories over the span of a lot of years. And it's been a really long time since, one, she has seen a group of kindred who actually seem to care about each other outside of politics,
Mm-hmm.
which I think makes her feel lonely, because it's been a very long time since she's not even experienced that herself, but seen it among others, because usually whenever she's talking to anybody, it's for a favor And
Mm-hmm.
the other thing, too, is that Chaz always has a face and she always has a facade, and it's whatever she has to be for the moment. But it's kind of hard to figure out who she's supposed to be playing whenever she's alone. So I think that she gets very antsy while she's waiting around. And so I think that she goes to the place where she feels the most comfortable, which is the sprawl. And especially after tonight, with the mention of the Oculus again, I think that she kind of just wanders around for a little bit and just really hopes to hear a familiar voice.
But the only one who lives down there is Jimmy, and he's dead.
Or so we thought.
All the other Nos are hanging around there.
The other Nos are moving
That's
down there.
Grange.
No. It was just Jimmy. We've only ever seen
You're a
Jimmy down
monster.
there.
Oh my god.
Mr. Grange.
It's that fucking owl.
Chaz, why don't you roll?
Charisma to make friends with the walls.
Makes friends with yourself.
Let's say this is a bit of a weird roll. Let's say wits composure.
Well, one of those I am good at, and one of those I am not.
You're average at. Please fail this roll horribly. That'd be really funny.
Wouldn't that just be so anticlimactic?
2.
Would you care to spend a willpower to reroll those 2 non-hunger dice? Or would you like to let it ride?
I think tonight she would. I'm gonna go for it.
3 successes.
Ooh.
On 3 successes, you are listening for a voice that you have not heard in 180 some years, but for the echo of his laughter that sometimes follows you in the dark. You still do not hear it tonight, but you do hear sounds of the sprawl, the dripping of water, creaking of metal, groans and stresses of ancient stone stretching to fill the space that expands infinitely under Seattle. You know so much of what is down here, and yet there is so much more just beyond. What could you find here in another 10 years, another 50, another 100? Where could it sprawl to next? And as you are lost in these thoughts, you are suddenly simultaneously surprised and completely unsurprised by the appearance of a 40-something man in a long fleece coat with a bulbous, bald head, scrunched up rat-like face, and pointed ears. He kind of sniffles and, Jazz, what are you doing down here? Recognizing the face and voice of the Nosferatu primogen, Terrence Wart Grotch.
I just give him a smile and I say, oh, just taking a little stroll. How are things down here?
Been searching for this Oculus thing. All up and down the crossroads, I can't find it. Something deep down here, Chaz. I've been under New York, I've been under Chicago. This is different. I'm gonna be honest, kind of scares me. Which is, not easy to say. With Cross dead, anything could happen, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. Anything could happen.
I heard you had a thing with those, coterie from Magnolia, right? Leslie mentioned Mathias at a meeting tonight.
Oh, just a little gig. You know how those go. Have you heard anything about them?
I heard what happened downtown. Is that you guys?
Depends on what you heard.
He kind of finally gives a little smile. He's like, come on, I hear everything. Gestures at his giant bulbous or giant pointy ears.
Yeah, no, it was us. Between you and me, I think you're right. I think anything could happen. I think things are about to get very exciting, and I think it should be frightening.
Well, as long as you go first, it's fine with me. You looking for something down here?
You know me. I'm never particularly looking for anything, but I always manage to find something.
And as you say that, you're sort of in this, another indistinct section of the sprawl. Stone corridors and tunnels, some human-made, some natural, and the archway behind Granch that he came through seems to darken, and little pinpricks of colored light shine through the cracks in the mortar around the threshold, glow forward and expand into this halo of eyes. Green, pink, red, yellow. They wiggle for a moment before all fixating on you suddenly. Some human-like, some animalistic, some utterly alien. And then they all wink out. Disappear.
I think that Chastity just smiles, and I think that this is the calmest she has felt, not just tonight, in a very long time. And she's finally ready to go back home.
All right. Reggie, where do you get up to tonight?
Reggie heads off into the night after yelling at the only people he could even remotely call friends.
Mm-hmm.
And she is walking along, heads past some night market or something like that. And I think there's a scene where Reggie passes by some outdoor stall with some handmade crafts, and suddenly Reggie is wearing a scarf to hide the front of their
That's a good idea.
disfigured face. Yep. As not even so much right now they don't give a shit about the masquerade, but they do care about people looking at them right now.
Yeah, you get some hey, snarl kids, give us a snarl before you get that scarf on.
Yeah, exactly. Or just people crossing the street as Reggie's walking along. And Reggie heads off to... I'm going to go visit my dealer, Parson Butterfingers Hamstra.
Mm-hmm.
If I have time. How much time do we have before dawn, would you say?
Oh, plenty. Hours.
Okay. Then, yeah, they either catch a bus or they grab a scooter, head across town.
You head across town. Person lives in Ravenna, near the university. He's got this just small apartment, 6th floor, pretty casual place. You've crashed on his couch a few times in the last year. Before you get to Parson, I want to ask Reggie something.
Mm-hmm.
You have just passed the anniversary of your death. And especially coming off that conversation you just had, I want to know, has Reggie even realized it's been that long? Has that been sticking with them? Is that in their head at all? You have been more than a year dead now. More than a year as this monster that you hate so much.
I think that is something that has crossed their mind as of right now.
Yeah.
And it's just another stone piling up on top of Reggie right now, just bringing them down. And Reggie tries to sing that little song of just gonna be a good night. And they cut off and they're just bullshit.
Yep.
And they head off to Parson.
You buzz Parson's door. There's a momentary pause before you hear,
Hey, who's there? What's up?
Hey, Parson, it's Reggie. Hey, look, man, I got some money. I can pay you what I owe you.
Oh, Reggie. It's been a... Yeah.
It's been a minute, but hey, man, I said I'd pay you back, and I'm here now.
Let me just clean up some... let me just clean, and I'll buzz... Yeah,
Dude,
one
you
sec.
don't gotta clean, man. It's okay. Have you seen me?
You know what? Good point.
And you get in, you go up to 6th floor, get into his apartment. This just simple little space, tight hallway leads into a little den, kitchenette, bedrooms, bathroom. Parson comes up. He is tidying some things, putting away some shirts that are flopped over the couch and things.
Yeah.
He's this bigger man, they, wearing at this hour of night, he's probably just got on a white graphic shirt of some convention he went to. And this white guy with kind of bushy beard, short, messy, brownish blonde hair, and big, thick rimmed glasses. He kind of flings a dirty shirt aside, gets up, is not sure, hug, handshake, decides on holding out for a fist bump.
Yeah, I think that's all they do. I think it's been that way for a long time, just a quick little fist bump.
Yeah.
Reggie goes in and sits down on the couch where they've spent the night several times.
Okay, yeah.
And Reggie pulls out that large roll of cash that Mr. Orpheus gave to her last time. And it's just like, hey, how much do I owe you? He gives an amount.
yeah, a couple hundred maybe.
Yeah, and Reggie pulls that out, and it's almost like the whole roll, and Reggie's like, hey, there's a little bit on top there. Hey, you ever, it's something new on the street. I got to try it a little while ago. You ever heard of sugar? Do you have any?
Let's roll for person.
Please have it. Please have it.
This is important. I'm going to use my real dice.
Oh boy.
Okay, person has 6 dice on this, plus 1 for his specialty in drugs. That is 5 successes from Parson Hamster.
There we go. He's got the good stuff.
I think on 5 successes, he's like, sugar. Goes over to his fridge and starts pulling, looking through his, prescription bottles and rolled up baggies. Pulls out a Ziploc with exactly 1 blue capsule in it. And is like, yeah, I got this from my friend Phil. He asked me to pass some out, try and find some new customers. They say it's like this it's like stronger than LSD. I don't know. I was gonna try it, but I haven't found a good night. So.
Hey man, I just, if you want me to look after you while you take it.
Ooh.
I'm good for it. And Reggie hands him the whole stack. I'm like, look man, just keep the rest of it.
You know what? Because you've come with the money, I will not make you roll. Parson kind of nods, scratches, but he's like, I mean, I was gonna finish another page of my comic, but you should check it out if you haven't seen. We've got 50 viewers.
No,
weekly.
it's been a minute since I've read it. I don't really have access to a screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I got a new phone though. Reggie holds up. You should put your number in.
Yeah. Parson takes the phone, puts his number in, and they nod. Is like, yeah, I can take a break. Yeah. That sounds nice. Yeah, make yourself at home. I'm gonna.
Yeah. I think
he's up. He goes.
I think Reggie goes to a usual spot, pulls open a drawer. There's some spliffs in there, and just kind of pulls out one of those and rests it in their mouth, and it just kind of points, and it's just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, go for it. Yeah.
I'm just chilling. And just kind of mulls on it. Tastes like ash.
Yep. And Parson goes, puts on a fuzzy bathrobe, sits down on the couch, opens the baggie, and just sugar, huh? Pops it on his tongue. Starts to dissolve. He kind of says, "It's not very sweet. I don't know." Just flops back on the couch. It is not like a trance high. He is speaking out loud, seeing things, kind of shifting in the room. He is full having a complete synesthetic hallucination.
I think after a little bit, Reggie will stand up and slowly walk towards them. Their back is against the couch, leaning there, zooted out of their mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a mirror behind the couch, kind of across the room.
Sure.
And we see Reggie's reflection kind of coming into frame, and their entire body is just covered in feathers right now that are broken, snapped, soaked in blood, and they're sticking into the skin, and wherever they're sticking, it's not an easy fit like a bird. It's as if feathers have been jammed into her skin. And this reflection just looks at Reggie, and Reggie has this blank expression, and the expression just goes, "You're a fucking monster." And Reggie will bite down on Parsons' neck.
Oh man.
You may slake to hunger from your dealer, providing you the service they promise, though perhaps not in these terms. Let me ask you, Reggie.
Oh my god.
The monster that you are.
Oh my god.
Do you take the last drop?
I think once again, Reggie is on top of them.
No.
Hand pushing underneath the chin, and as those drugs ease into Reggie's system, it has the desired effect.
No.
everything goes black. And we just hear a...
No!
Oh.
No!
God damn it.
Oh my god.
And so closes another
No.
chapter. Of
Oh
Midnight
my
Gravity.
Oh my god.
No!
Oh my god.
He's just a silly, funny little character.
Yeah, it's so silly. He's the most human of all of us. Like Mathias said.
that was pretty funny when you guys said that, and I
Well,
already
Mathias
had this
has no idea you've killed that many people.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Thank you all for listening.
Holy moly, dude. Jesus.
Please come back.
Tune in next week.
Sky messaged me. It was like, I have a scene to play, so I had no idea that was coming. Today, Sky deleted 2 of his own advantages on his sheet. Sky was like, I'm no longer beautiful and I no longer have my contact.
Jeez.
Holy crap.
Meghan is our special guest. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
Well, after I'm done crying, I will plug my Instagram at Hello Meghan Martin. You can follow me on there. And also check out all the socials on this podcast. Hit it, guys.
Thank you. Rachel, hit it.
Yeah.
You got this, Rachel.
Yeah, about that. Yeah. Follow me on my social media at Rachel Kordell. Find my Twitch, twitch.tv/Majora's Rose. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Oh my god.
All that sadness makes for great marketing, guys.
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that sad of a scene, guys. That was pretty.
Yeah, there's nothing sad about it.
Yeah.
Not a thing.
Also, just going to do a little plug for the table business. I was interviewed in their 11th episode, and it was a really good time getting to talk about tabletop stuff. I think you guys really liked the episode, so go ahead and check it out.
Tintenseher, Linktree, Itch, YouTube. Check me out. Thank you.
I want to shout out GG17635, as well as I wanted to stream Disney Now on Apple Podcasts for their 5-star reviews. Thank you so much, guys. Again, this means a whole lot to us whenever we get these reviews, so can't thank you enough. Also, if you're free this Wednesday, February 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be guesting on the RPG Academy podcast. We're going to be going live on their Twitch channel, twitch.tv/the RPG Academy, where we're going to be talking some D&D stuff, talking some monsters, playing some improv games, and then at the end, you get to ask them questions if you're in chat. The show will also go up over on their podcast, wherever you find podcasts, at the RPG Academy podcast. So if you don't have time to listen to it the day of, you can certainly listen to it later on their show.
Andrew, you want to do the YouTube and TikToks and stuff?
Just like the thread of Reggie's relationships have been severed, our Threads account is still up and running.
Jesus Christ.
Go give it a look. Pox posts on there sometimes.
How's Pox doing, huh?
Much like Threads, that connection was pretty thin.
And then after you give that a quick little view, why not make yourself, chuckle a little bit? How about our YouTube?
Yeah, we're very funny podcast.
Look at us in happy spirits.
We're just full of chuckles and giggles.
I mean, I'm not upset. I'm just I don't know where the fuck to go with this.
I want to go lay down.
Sky?
Hey there, have you recently lost touch with your humanity? Do you wish to forgive your human bonds and give yourself to a different cause? Maybe you've detached yourself and become one with the internet. Screw that flesh, you don't need it any longer. Then why don't you just head over to our podcast and leave us a quick little review? You don't need your humanity for that, just cold hard facts. We're great, you know it, gives 5 stars. And unlike Parsons in the morning, I'll be wishing you a good morning.
Good night. Because you don't say good night in the morning, so good night.
Good
Have
morning.
a good whatever time of day.
Oh my god.
Reggie.
Reggie.